Hello everyone, Vanguard of Valor here, and welcome back to Sunless Sea. Well, we have geared up again in New London, and it is time for us to once again set sail. We've been tasked with going to Wither, but our mission takes us out to the east, or perhaps this time, to the south. We have not yet traveled down in this district of the sea, and there could be a great deal of interesting things down there. And so, that is where we will go. We have ties to Port Cecil, ties to Wither, ties to Venderbite. On second thought, we have wine to deliver to the Venderbite. We have resources to acquire at Wither. Who knows what else we may find in the north, so, against my initial plans, we set sail for the north instead. Hopefully we have enough wine to make the journey worthwhile. If not, well, we will see what happens. I'm sure we will discover something of note while we are out at sea either way. With 15 fuel and 10 food at our supplies, we should be able to make this journey a lengthy one. So let us make way. Unfortunately, we were unable to invest in a more powerful engine as much as I would like to, but hopefully we will discover interesting things out upon the waves. What is this? Is this an enemy ship or simply a trader? It's difficult to say, but they don't seem hostile, so we will leave them alone. There is a swarm of Z-bats over this way, however, and they seem to be attacking that ship. Well, lucky it isn't us. Lucky it isn't us. We make our way onwards, unwilling to help those in trouble. We have rapidly reached Venderbite. Hopefully, we'll be able to make use of our wine here. First, we shall see what the north holds, and then we trip to the south. Here we are. Let us provide what we have promised. The tomb colonists of Venderbite have few pleasures remaining. Oh, they needed 10. They needed 10. No. Well, we do not have enough. That is an unfortunate fate. At the very least, we can gather some gossip, get another port report. But that is an unfortunate oversight. We return to the Z. On the plus side, we spent very little on these casks of wine and can probably make some kind of profit off them at some point. But it is certainly an unfortunate loss to not have enough to be able to cash in here. We have, however, discovered Cant's Abyss. A horrible pit of dark waters. But we head to the frigid north to see what we will see. Ooh. That is not good. We do not wish to tussle with a lifeberg. Leave us be. Leave us be, creature. We should be able to pass beneath the arch and hopefully lose it as we approach Wither proper. Good. Whew. We have been remarkably lucky with our overcharged engines not causing us troubles, but for now we make port in Wither and see what it is the Admiralty has interest with. The House of the Question stands to the north. For now, though, we head to Wither Town. What goes on here? A riddling contract. Who seeks the ships? Is the Conet our true enemy? What is the nature of sleep? Ah, yes. Witherns only answer a question with a question. It's an annoying habit in a spy. Perhaps we can piece the report together. We don't have enough mirrors to do that. We do, however, have the option to do a riddling contract and spend 25 fragments to get our commission here. Anything else we can do? Seems not. A riddling contract it is. We now have one strategic information that we can return to the commission. Eventually we've teased the meaning out of his words. It's like trying to convince a cat to release a ball of wool. He's cat smug, too. But at least we have our information. We gather some more intelligence here. The citizens of Wither enjoy questions, so much so that they can always answer a question with another question, which can make intelligence gathering frustrating. Are you asking for a particular reason? At what time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6? It could be 6. Eventually, we cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report. We could explore the town, but I feel not. The House of the Question is where we go in this case. We can gain Stone's attention or gain Salt's attention, if we had only a little more. But for now, we could defy the gods. I have a feeling that will not be a good choice. This will increase your iron and hearts by 5 each, up to 110, and set our terror to 0. We will never be able to remove any god's curse or benefit in certain other ways. I think we will not defy the gods. This may not be the place for us now. Let us simply explore the town. We've gained the attention of Storm and gained 10 fragments. We fall into a reverie as we wander the shore. There are words in the wind, a story of sort, of a gate in the north, of a pale light that began there, of a drowned light that will end there, of a high wilderness that other ships may sail. We lift our eyes. On the wall of a saltworks, someone has scrawled, "Is there a sea more sunless?" Well then. Well then indeed. We've acquired what we came here to find, but there is still much more awaiting us. Let us explore the north here before we return to explore the south in future. The mysteries of the Sunless Sea await us. And it is only by searching that we may find. We'll pop in briefly here at Codex, since we sit right at its borders. And it would make sense for us to acquire all the port reports we can, so that we can trade them in for fuel and resources when we return. The Isle of Codex, a desperate cave full of mute exiles, an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. We have no searing enigmas, however, so we cannot acquire a doomed monster hunter. We can compile a port report in an island where no one will speak. The exiles see many come, and fewer leave. Some are even willing to communicate, but their gestures are unfamiliar, their meanings unclear. Even when we can understand, these are questions or answers without questions, as useless as a key without a lock. Strange indeed, but we have no need to rest here at the time. There is plenty more for us to uncover on the Sunless Sea. So we head to the north to investigate Teneb and the areas surrounding it. Who knows what mysteries await us? What horrors lie above? There is Teneb, and here is Frostfound. The Sycamore Arch crosses the ice in a mysterious fashion. But if we are to explore the north, then explore we must. Who knows what other strange creatures await us? attempt to stay on the edge of the fog bank to avoid the undeniable terror caused from riding within such questionable air. And we continue to the east. Our supplies dwindle as we venture further, but a Z-Bat leaves. We've discovered the Chang'e Rift, and that Bright is some distance to the southwest. That could be worth briefly returning to. Something new is always worth the investigation. Well then, Bright, what are you? Reveal your secrets to us, for we return to discover you. Bright is unfortunately not a place we can dock. It is simply a new location. Well, the wasted resources returning here may not be paid for, but at least we've made a new discovery for the future. The North may hold fantastic secrets for us, but we have to survive to get them. We've already burned through half of our fuel, so we'll see how truly successful this expedition is. There does not appear to be a great deal within range, however. We enter the storm bones. St. Eligia sends his fire to dance in the air on deck. Very far away we see the light of the Ragged Crow. Sounds safe, does it not? The Ragged Crow is some distance to the northeast, in the middle of a vast, dense fog bank. Let us investigate this Ragged Crow. Is it simply a vast lighthouse, or something more? It does indeed appear to be simply a lighthouse. Well, we shall continue then, and see what else the North holds. Onwards we travel, exploring the mysteries of the sea. The avid horizon is a long way to the east. Perhaps we will return there at a later date. For now, I have desires to head back down towards Port Cecil, and perhaps explore this area of the north rather than heading to the northern border, because we do still seek Nuncio. And the Postman's Island. But there is a great deal of exploring yet to do. The darkness encroaches from all sides, yet our sailors hold up. With only 31 terror encroaching on their minds, we have not yet gone mad. However, we have discovered Nuncio. What a convenient discovery. What a convenient discovery indeed. The island for which we were searching has been found, after all. McMaster's Haven, Nuncio itself. Let us make port and see if we can find any clue of our father's whereabouts. That appears to be a great whirlpool. The Think-Naughtal Vortex. I have no interest in venturing any closer to that horrible fate. What have we here? Well then. First of all, We've reached Nuncio. Do not return, sender. Let's investigate our father's bones. Huffam told us our father's bones had been sent to Mr. Voluminous, but misaddressed to the wrong door. So here they must be, somewhere in the crypty windings of the Dead Letter Office. We tell our story to the drooping, cadaverous postman behind the grating. He doesn't give any sign of interest or understanding. By the time we've finished our story, we wonder if he might be dead. Perhaps no one has got around to closing those yellowed and staring eyes. But at last, he jerks into life. What was the name again? Interesting. So close. I'm sorry, the postman yawns. I have something under voluminous, but you'll need to specify the address before I can release it. We begin to protest that it's our father's body that they're holding, but the postman takes refuge in bureaucracy. We do learn that it wasn't addressed to our home, our family home, the harbor master, or any other address we can think of. The postman drums his fingers dispassionately on the oilskin package, just inches away behind the arm-thick iron bars. He sees us crane our neck and turns it address side down. Sorry we can't be of any more assistance, he chants, just as returning to leave. He adds, Does list the Fathom King as the return address? Perhaps you can ask him. Well then. It may be time for us to visit the Fathom King yet again. For now, though, let's investigate Nuncio proper. Taciturn functionaries walk the docks in the uniforms of postmen. We can assemble a port report here. That shouldn't be a problem. Let us investigate. First, however, we explore the beach. There's a long stretch of shale, dotted with washed-up kegs and barrels and smaller flotsam. The rocks slip and slither underfoot, but we keep our balance. Every lap of the wave drags up some new letter or parcel. The face of the water is dotted with them, as far as we can see in this blackness, carried by a powerful current. There's a man with a broom shoving letters into the sea, and the sea keeps shoving them back. We can help the man holding a broom, or we can try and rescue a dripping parcel. Let's do that. Something awaits us. Let's see what we find. Drowning pearls. Dozens of them. And an explanation of how they were harvested that turns the hair. The divers lost among the deep coral. The beasts that had to be fought off during harvesting. The growing terror aboard ship. All that has been done was done according to your lordship's will, concludes the letter writer, in anger, in pride, in unquestioning submission. Impossible to say. We did gain 20 drowning pearls, and 10 fragments, as well as 5 terror. Let us assist the man holding the broom. Let's see if we can help him here. In the long term, what we're doing won't make the slightest bit of difference. Every sodden bit of paper we fling out to sea will come back in a few hours. But for now, we managed to clear a little patch of shore, a few feet on each side. The stones are bare, as they should be. Our companion turns his head towards the sound of our work and gives us a little nod. We've lost 5 terror. We have a little bit of friendship with the postman, and we're aware of the flotsam and jetsam. Let's study the odd currents here. We have a 81% chance of success with our vast pages skill, so let's see what happens here. We make a complete circuit of the island. The whole shoreline is alike, all of it covered in debris, all of it washing steadily inland from every direction. Not the work of some directional current. It's more as though the whole Untersee were draining into Nuncio. Except, of course, that force did not affect our ship when we came this way. It does not stop ships leaving. Evidently, it only works on the post. Strange. Let's head back to the docks. And investigate the postman's tavern, perhaps. The Inky Blotter, it's called. The sign doesn't look like much. It's warmer inside than it looks, however, and faces turn in our direction, but no one seems surprised to have a new arrival on the island. Lit by 2 roaring fires, one at either end of the room. The bartender is in a postman's uniform, like almost all of the patrons. A noseless postal inspector called Blunt Thomas delivers the drinks, clears tables, and stacks the firewood. Let us investigate here. Let's listen in on postal tall tales. Fishermen brag about fish that got away. Postmen brag about hard deliveries. Delicate bottles lowered down chimneys on a rope. Do not fold under any circumstance, letters curled through a narrow slot. Rattling, groaning crates brought back to the same address every day for 22 days running. The windows they pried open. The servants they bribed. The delivery surcharges they paid out of their own salaries just to get rid of one more packet. It's hard to tell which they hate more, the senders of mail or the recipients.
Stands to reason. If the message was a welcome one, they'd tell the other fellow in person,
reflects the hairless postwoman. We're now a newcomer in Nuncio. Let's ask of why the local currency consists of rats. 2 strings of rats for a pint of ale, 3 strings for wine, 5 for the tolerable brandy under the bar. The hairless postwoman at the end of the bar smiles mirthlessly. Or maybe it's just the lack of eyebrows that does it.
Long enough carrying the things around, you get into the habit, she says.
Then she tells you that if you stay out late enough, you'll see some of the postmen making a procession to the center of the island, stringing up rats around the statue like Yuletide decorations in prayer to an ancient deity of the place. From the coughing and choking elsewhere in the pub, you'd guess this is a story they often tell to newcomers. Let's not ask why the hairless postwoman is hairless. I have a feeling that is a tactless question. Let us ask about the big statue in the center of the island, however. Oh, that. It's all of us, isn't it? Sort of the spirit of the island. Most of them don't seem troubled for more of an explanation than that, though the hairless postwoman tells us that it didn't always look like a fallen London postman at all, that it used to have a different face and a more old-fashioned outfit. Well, now we're accepted by the locals, so that's good. Let's ask why the letters wash ashore here. It's the pull, they tell you. Dead letters are like so many iron filings drawn to Nuncio. See for yourself, suggests the hairless postwoman. Go down to the shore, collect up a bunch of what's washed there, and you'll feel it soon enough. Saves time for the rest of us, says another voice. Apparently beach scavenging is a civic duty hereabouts, like working in the dead letter office. Well then. We're still reasonably friendly with them, but we're learning more about the postal secrets. Interesting. Let's ask to borrow a uniform. If we're to fit in here, we'll need one. They're polite, even apologetic about our request. We're welcome here, and welcome to take shifts at the dead letter office. We cannot wear the uniform unless we were a postal employee back in fallen London, and such is regulations. Blunt Thomas lets us have a look at his uniform jacket at least. Neat stitching, gilded buttons, a thin but dignified circle of braid at the collar. Inside, a patch goes over the heart, stitched with 6 red letters. We can't read it, but it makes our eyes itch and our scalp feel like burning. They're friendly, though, at least, which is good. Let's investigate why the postman came here. All unhappy postmen are alike. Their stories have different beginnings. Boredom, frustration, a fellow who is overwhelmed by guilt after a missed delivery. But they always end the same way. Undeliverable letters and parcels accumulating over months and years. Attempts to ignore the undeliverable, to shove it into a desk or carry it in the bottom of the bag. An increasing preoccupation with these items. Finally, a decision to meet the compulsion. To go to Nuncio, and be rid, at last, of the remnants. The postmen do not bring dead letters to Nuncio. The letters bring the postmen. Gained some fragments and more knowledge, but for now we head back to the docks. Let us explore along the beach, and see if we can't discover any of those aforementioned letters. Collect material for the dead letter office. We have 1 dead post. We make our way along the shore with a big sack. Many of the envelopes are too damp to read, their addresses permanently lost. but a surprising number are still legible. There are also parcels. Here and there is a crate, a message in a wine bottle, a sealed cask that is bobbed up out of a shipwreck. Our sack ought to get heavy with all these contents, but it pulls upwards and away, straining inland towards the dead letter office like an unmanageable dog. Let's grab one more. Same text, but now we have 2 letters for the dead letter office. There's a sign of a cancelled stamp over the door. Let's investigate. Blunt Thomas takes us around the office, a small collection room where those retrieving letters may state their business. A much larger set of back offices where newly arrived letters and parcels are collected and sorted. A dank, briny smell that never goes away, presumably because so many of the parcels spent time in the water before they arrived here. In the back room is a machine manned, or ratted, by a postal rat, a Rattus Faber in a pinstriped hat. It shovels sludge-damp letters into the machine's hopper, and they come out dried, cleaned, pressed, and sorted into slots by size and quality of paper. Let us feed our undeliverable letters into the sorting machine. After prolonged whirring, the machine begins to distribute. 7 invitations edged in gilt into the correspondence of the aristocracy slot. 2 oversized parcels probably containing books into the books tray. 1 stamped bronze tablet that drops with a clang into a bin marked First City. The postal rat watches all of this with an air of satisfaction. We're an experienced shift worker now. Let's drop another one of these in. Same thing, nothing changes. We can converse with the postal rat or ask for a key to the basements. We can attempt to study what goes on in the back room, but we have no stories awaiting us. Let's converse with the postal rat. Why doesn't it make a machine like this back in London? It might lead to fewer dead letters in the first place.
Oh, no. That wouldn't be permitted at all. There are strict rules about the initial handling and sorting of post. An experimental machine might mangle the letters. It's only the dead material that is unimportant enough to be entrusted to a Rattus Faber.
His voice isn't bitter, but he twists a coil so hard that it springs sideways out of the machine and pings off our shoe. We're now trusted in Nuncio, however. Let's ask the postal rat for a key to the basements, perhaps, but we'll come back and do that afterwards. I'm interested in seeing if we can do anything else here with this area. Let's go to the Postman's Tavern. Yet again. We can trade war stories about our shift work, ask about the locked doors in the dead letter office. Let's trade war stories here. The parcels we've weighed and entered in logbooks, the things that have oozed out of them. The postmen are delighted by our incredulity and shock. A civilian finally understanding the full horror of the post. They have stories even worse than those, let me tell you. Hang on a moment. Postmaster Scritch, we've all heard your rubbery lump story already. It's nothing to the Tomb Colony pickles. Pickled, what is I want to know? Pickled what is what I want to know, rather. What about that Sooth and Cooper crate, and how he had to scrape the bits off the masonry, do you remember? The night runs late. But they have nothing else to tell me. Let's inquire about the locked doors in the dead letter office. Ooh. No one answers us. We repeat the question. Finally, Blunt Thomas says, "None of us have gone down there. And those that have, don't talk about it. And those that talk about it, we wish they wouldn't have. And they don't come back the same. So that's an end to it. And have another ale." But we're no longer friends. Never mind. We're friendly again. I think it's time for us to investigate those locked doors. The fellow man in collections looks awake for half a second when we come in, until he realizes we're here to relieve him. Let's ask a postal rat for the key to the basements. He's surprised by the request. Most postmen don't like it down there. No one ever asks for a key, but he'll cut us a new one. Just be careful in there, and come out if we start to feel wrong, he suggests. Let's investigate the mysterious back rooms. We had expected a few shelves of supplies, more files of letters a few years older. No, it is a pit, so deep that lantern light does not show the bottom. A spiral walkway descends along its wall, and that spiral opens wider as it goes, as if we were looking through the narrow end of a very large shell. Lining this wall are shelves and nooks, unevenly sized. Some are a few inches square and contain single scrolls of papyrus. Others support crates bigger than coffins. They're made of a woody fungus grown to meet requirements. There are no marks of carpentry, or any of the postal rat's handiwork. 3 turns down the spiral, and we feel we can't breathe. Time to leave. We can come back later. Maybe. Well then. We're now a basement custodian and explorer of the lower basements. Well, well. Let's chat with the postal rat about our basement findings.
They say that's been there since before we came. Before there were Londoners underneath. Before there was a dead letter office, there was someone else, and they built the last layer on top of what was there before, and so on.
We press him a little further, he says.
I've been down there. Didn't like it much, but I wanted to test my machine. Thought if it could handle some of the very old dead letters, that'd be a good sign, you know. Evidence the machine was in working order, good strong sorting categories and so forth. There's letters down there that set your hair on fire if you so much as look at them. See the bald patch on my right leg? Left leg, in fact. That wasn't a machine accident, oh no. That singed right off as soon as I put my nose into one of them letters.
Well, we've gained a tale of terror and extraordinary implication. We're now familiar with the flaming letters. Well. We can now descend into the basement with flame. Properly equipped. We have candles for the way. We have a flare for the bottom. It's time to investigate what lies in the basement. This is why we bought those candles and flares so long ago, so that we can investigate this mysterious place. Let's see what we can find. Spiral on spiral on spiral. The descent is long and slow. We count the turns at first, but the time comes when we can't see the square of light from the door above, and can't mark how far we've come around the spiral. We exhaust one candle after another. At the end, we come to a place where the ramp opens onto a bowl-shaped floor. The cavern must be hundreds of feet wide here. We light our flare, but even that does not show the cavern walls. The floor is carpeted with, at first we think it is gravel, but no, broken shards of clay and stone, all scribbled over in words too old to read. At the center of this space is a needle of deep black rock, glossy as resin, glittering with ice, inscribed with 3 arcane sigils that hurt to look at. We feel a meaning in their presence, a prohibition, or a commandment, that all things must come to their destined place, that what cannot be delivered immediately must be saved against a future date, that a message that goes unheard is a tragedy, that the signal must be carried, no matter how far, no matter through what darkness, no matter whether the sender still lives, nor whether the recipient can even read the language of the writing. The inscription resolves itself, and is known to us. No word lost. We've lost a flare. We've gained 5 terror. We have a searing enigma. We've lost our candles, but we're now a visitor to the center stone. We can sit down but a moment, or we can ascend. The climb out is slow and takes a long time. Could we possibly have come down this far? Surely not. Our breath goes ragged and our legs cramp. Let us sit down a moment. We relax against a shelf. It isn't comfortable at all, as the edge of a metal box is prodding us some between the spine and the shoulder blade. Somewhere off to our right is a sound like hoarse breathing. It doesn't matter. In the dimness we see, or remember, or dream, a silver tree growing in a courtyard. The reverie lasts only a few heartbeats before we're properly awake again. Time to ascend. The dead letter office is still here, its machine still working, its basket still filling with missed invitations and misplaced wills. shouldn't have been blasted away, destroyed by the force of what lies beneath. And thus we are. However, as much as I'd like to continue investigating Nuncio, the time is now for us to end this episode. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been Vanguard of Valor, playing Sunless Sea here for you. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't forget to investigate the links in the description to find me on other social media such as Twitter or my Twitch channel where you can view the live streams. Words are hard. Live streams that happen Monday to Friday. And until next time, bye-bye.